Meet Larry Page, the mastermind behind Google's dominance, but did you know that he was once a self-proclaimed nerd who struggled to fit in as a kid? By his own admission, he was not popular at all, yet this awkward genius would go on to revolutionize the internet. Born in 1973, Page's life about to take a dramatic turn. Larry Page's story begins in a world far from Silicon Valley's gleaming skyscrapers. Born on March 26, 1973, in East Lansing, Michigan, Larry grew up in a humble home with his parents, Carl and Gloria Page. His father, an engineer at General Motors, worked hard to provide for the family of four. But despite their best efforts, they struggled to make ends meet. As a child, Larry was fascinated by computers. He taught himself to code at just 13 years old, fueled by a passion that would soon become all-consuming. His parents, though proud of his curiosity, couldn't afford the expensive hardware and software needed for Larry's digital pursuits. Undeterred, he spent countless hours in the local library, devouring books on programming and computer science. Larry's early life was marked by challenge and perseverance. He grew up in a neighborhood where poverty was a reality, but his parents instilled in him a sense of determination that would serve him well as he embarked on the journey that would one day lead to the creation of Google. Little did Larry know, his humble beginnings would soon give rise to a revolution in search and innovation that would change the world forever. Larry Page's journey to success wasn't without its setbacks. In fact, his first major failure was a stark reminder that even the brightest minds can hit rock bottom. It happened in 1998 when Page and his then graduate student, Sergey Brin, launched Google as a research project. They were on a mission to organize the Internet's vast information landscape. But their early efforts were met with indifference. As they struggled to gain traction, Page admits they came perilously close to abandoning ship. "We were doing this crazy search engine thing," he recalls, "and it just wasn't working." With no clear direction and dwindling resources, the duo faced the very real possibility of throwing in the towel. But then something shifted. They took a hard look at their algorithm and refocused on what mattered most: relevance. It was a turning point that would ultimately propel Google to greatness. Page reflects, "When we figured out how to make search more relevant, it just changed everything." And change everything it did. By 2004, Google had gone public, and the rest, as they say, is history. Despite that early failure, Larry Page's determination and resilience would prove the perfect recipe for success. September 4, 1998, was a day that would change the course of history. Larry Page, a brilliant but unknown computer science student at Stanford University, was on the verge of giving up on his dream to create a search engine that would revolutionize the way we access information. But then, it happened, a chance encounter with fellow grad student Sergey Brin. They began brainstorming ideas over coffee, and the seed for Google was planted. The rest, as they say, is history. This was no ordinary meeting of the minds. Page's frustration with the existing search engines had reached a boiling point. He was convinced that he could do better, but his own searches were consistently returning irrelevant results. Brin shared his vision of mapping the internet to provide more accurate and relevant search results. The spark was lit. Over the next few weeks, they worked tirelessly to bring their idea to life. And on September 27, 1998, Google was born. The world would never be the same again. Larry Page's meteoric rise to success is a story of innovation, perseverance, and collaboration. In 1995, Page, then a Stanford University PhD candidate in computer science, met Sergey Brin, a fellow student who shared his passion for search engines. Together, they created Backrub, a precursor to Google. By 1996, they had refined their concept, renamed it Google, and launched the search engine that would change the world. With $100,000 in seed funding from investors, Page and Brin's humble office space was just blocks away from Stanford's campus. In 2000, Google became a privately held company with Page as CEO. Their first big break came when Yahoo chose Google as its primary search engine. This partnership catapulted Google's user base to over 10 million by the end of 2001. As Google's popularity soared, so did its valuation. By 2004, the company was worth $25 billion. Page and Brin took Google public in 2004, raising $1.7 billion in an IPO that cemented their status as tech moguls. In 2011, Page stepped down as CEO, handing the reins to Eric Schmidt. He remained chairman of Google's parent company, Alphabet Incorporated, until 2015 when Sundar Pichai took over. Throughout his career, Larry Page has been driven by an insatiable curiosity and a passion for innovation. With Sergey Brin, he co-founded Google, revolutionizing the way we search, communicate, and live. His legacy continues to shape our digital world, inspiring generations of entrepreneurs and innovators. Larry Page's peak success was a culmination of his relentless pursuit to revolutionize the world. As one half of Google's founding duo with Sergey Brin, he spearheaded the development of AdWords and AdSense, generating $10 billion in revenue within 3 years. This innovative approach earned them a staggering $3.4 billion in net worth by 2005. The impact was undeniable. Google became the go-to search engine, processing over 5 billion searches daily. The company's market value soared to $340 billion, making it one of the most valuable in history. Page's vision didn't stop there. He co-founded YouTube in 2006, revolutionizing video sharing and cementing his position as a tech mogul. The accolades poured in: Google's 20th Anniversary Award for Outstanding Innovation, Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People twice, and the prestigious Marconi Prize for contributions to human progress. Today, Larry Page's net worth stands at an astonishing $130 billion, solidifying his place as one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. His global impact: priceless. Larry Page's journey to becoming one of the most successful entrepreneurs is a masterclass in embracing failure and perseverance. He co-founded Google at just 25 years old, but after a brief stint as CEO, he stepped down to focus on innovation. The lesson here: don't be afraid to take calculated risks and pivot when things aren't working out. In fact, Larry himself says that some of his biggest failures were the most valuable learning experiences. So, what can we apply from Larry's playbook today? First, identify areas where you're stuck or stagnant. Then, take a chance on yourself and try something new. And when it doesn't work out, don't give up. Instead, learn from your mistakes and use them to fuel your next move. The result? A life of continuous growth and innovation. And that's a wrap on the incredible journey of Larry Page, co-founder of Google, innovator extraordinaire. His story is just one of many that will leave you inspired and wanting more. Don't miss our next film, The Unbelievable Rise of Serena Williams, tennis superstar turned business mogul. Subscribe now to stay ahead of the curve.